In this video, we'll be talking about what to eat, setting yourself up for success, how to deal with stumbles, and then I'll have a golden little nugget of helpful information at the end so you can continue on this journey with less effort. Hey guys, welcome to part 2 on how to start carnivore. If you haven't watched part 1, I will put a link in the description and a little bit later in the video. It goes over the negatives of carnivore and what to expect. This video is how to actually start it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys. If you have questions, put them in the comments or consider joining our Discord. You can find the link to that on the carnivorousme.com website. This video is going to be part motivational, but part reality. There are a lot of how to do this, this, and this, and I give you a step-by-step how to do it. But for me, the only reason I have succeeded is I not only addressed my diet, I addressed the mental component of how I got where I got. So for me, carnivore is half the answer, but addressing the mental part is the other half. The two together make it completely doable, but having only half of the piece, you're not gonna have much success. The theme of this video is transitioning from living to eat to eating to live. Overeating, excess weight, these things are not just a symptom of our diet, but our diet is a symptom of our mind. And what I mean by that is, for me personally, I overate because I was eating my emotions, and then it showed physically. So that is a big point of this video, is to help not only point you in the direction of, yes, you need to do A, B, C, D with the diet, but you also need to work on yourself in this direction too, so they both come together in just perfect harmony. Here is the number one piece of advice I can give you doing any kind of diet, weight loss, any journey. You must find your why. And it cannot be a superficial why. It has to be deep down, soul moving why you're doing something. I never had my why. And then when I finally discovered it, my why is I want to make tomorrow a better place than it is today for everybody. I want to remove whatever amount of misery I can from the world by replacing it with something beautiful and helpful to others. That is what moves me. That is what my why is, that keeps me going and keeps me from deviating down a different path. Something else to consider is, once you fully understand your why and where you're going, you can't unknow something. It isn't even a question if I'm ever going to go back to a standard American diet. The answer is no way in hell am I ever going to do that, because I can't unknow what I already know about myself and where the path leads. How you find your why is going to be different for everybody. But how I found mine is I read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. It is a lovely and difficult book, but it created an atmosphere inside myself. I was able to self-reflect, be honest, renew my integrity, and unroot and uncover all the dirty little secrets I had inside, things I had been hiding from myself, lying to myself that, oh no, it's really not that bad. It helped me uncover them, shine light on them, and clear out my inside so I could find who I really am. I suggest it, but if it's not for you, then find another path to find your why. Let's talk about what to eat. The carnivore diet is an elimination diet, meaning you will be eliminating most everything from what you eat. This does sound drastic. However, keep in mind, being 300, 200, whatever pounds overweight and sick is a lot more restrictive than limiting what you're putting in your mouth. I have experienced this. 360 pounds, 32 years old, having to use a walker, to now I'm walking 2+ miles a day, every single day. What I eat, limiting it, is not restrictive in the least. The main thing you'll be eating is meat. Ideally, it is going to be a high-fat, moderate protein, low to no carb diet. This means you want to aim for fattier cuts of meat. If you do ground burger, you want to try to aim for 70-30. You might even need to add more butter on top of that. I aim for a 60-40, 60% fat, 40% protein ratio. I am not perfect at it, but that is my kind of goal I have in mind when I eat. Things like ribeye are excellent examples because they are a 50-50 ratio, 50% protein, 50% fat. I still add butter on top of my ribeye because I need a bit more fat to get the 60-40 ratio I'm aiming for. You can feel free to eat things like pork and bacon and fish. As long as it is a meat, protein, and it has fat in it, you're fine. I personally tend to eat less chicken because it has a lot of protein and not enough fat. I don't enjoy trying to eat sticks of butter every day to get my fat intake in. So I do have chicken here and there, I just don't have it too frequently anymore. The reason you don't want to have a high amount of protein and you want to have more fat is excess protein turns into glucose in the liver through gluconeogenesis. This means if you're eating a ton of protein, your body's actually producing its own glucose. Well, carbs, glucose, the same thing once they're internally in the body. Your blood sugars are gonna be elevated. You're not gonna see as much of an improvement. And the whole point of this diet is to go from carb and sugar burning to fat burning. Meaning if you are pumping tons of protein that gets turned into glucose, into sugar in the body, you are constantly not going to be in that fat burning stage. There is a spectrum of ways to do carnivore. You can be strict carnivore, which is literally beef, ruminant, so like lamb with salt and water. That is very strict carnivore. People who are very ill or who have a lot of allergies do this. Then it goes all the way to what I call dirty carnivore. That is what I do. So I do spices, dairy. I do 95% of my diet carnivore, but I do allow those things that help me keep on track. You have to decide what you want to do. The stricter you are, the harder it is to stay on this, specifically if you're coming at this from a standard American or, a standard Australian diet where it's high fat, high carb, high calorie, high junk food. It is very hard to go from that to very strict carnivore. Next would be how much to eat. I wish I could tell you eat 3 meals a day, 2 snacks a day, but that's not how this goes. The carnivore diet, and honestly any diet, is a journey of self-discovery. What you need is not exactly what I'm gonna need, and you have to figure it out. I started off eating 3 meals a day and a few snacks for the first month. Then it went from 3 meals, 2 snacks to just 3 meals, and then 2 meals. And now I'll do 2 meals some days and 1 meal some other days. It fluctuates. The biggest thing you have to learn is to learn what true hunger is, not the hunger or the emotional desire to eat up here. So my suggestion, start off with as many meals as you need. If you need to do the 3 meals a day in the beginning, do it. Do not be tempted to just slash your food intake because you're trying to rush the weight loss. This is a guaranteed way to fall off and fail at this. If you need things like snacks, because every once in a while I'll have a meal, but I'm still a little peckish later, things like bacon, beef jerky, literally a slab of butter, a bite of cheese. These are the snacks that you are going to reach for when you feel like you need a snack. Something that you also need to keep in mind, because your diet is becoming very narrow in scope, I take a multivitamin. If you're someone that can eat things like heart and liver, you can get a lot of nutrients from that. I myself cannot mentally tolerate the idea of eating liver. I take a multivitamin from Whole Foods just to make sure I'm getting the nutrients I need. On top of that though, something to consider too is because you're not eating pre-made food, fast food, these kinds of things, you will have to increase your sodium intake. I had to triple mine. I use things like Element, LMNT, it's an electrolyte mix to help get my electrolytes in because the sodium, potassium, and magnesium are the easiest things that you can get low on doing this diet. And some of the dangers that go along with letting your electrolytes get low is you can get dizzy, you can faint. All of these things are completely avoidable if you plan ahead and know exactly what you need to do. I mentioned before, learning what true hunger is. I was, and most likely you, have been taught to eat everything on our plate. Or like in America, our portions are huge. So when you're told to eat everything on the plate, you eat a large portion. or you're eating emotionally. That is not true physical hunger. What I've learned is as you're eating, try to eat a little bit slower and keep consulting yourself, consulting your stomach. How do I feel? Am I full? Am I still feeling that hunger feeling? If I am, I'm gonna eat a bit more. And a few minutes later, I'm gonna have the same conversation with myself. Am I full? Do I feel hungry? The minute I stop feeling hungry, I'm done eating. I do not eat until full, because then I've eaten way past what I need, and by the time everything is settled, I end up over full. And this is a extremely important part. Do not starve yourself. This may be an elimination diet. This is not a starve yourself diet. You will naturally end up with a calorie deficit over time because you get so full on the fats. Do not eat. Eat when you're hungry, and over time, as your body becomes fat adapted, you will notice you're just slowly eating less and less because your body is now using your own fat reserves for energy. If you have some addictions, I have some alternatives for you. So if you just cannot give up soda, here's an option. Sparkling waters are a really good option if you have just a soda addiction and you cannot give the bubbly water up. There is no sugar, there's no artificial sweeteners in it. It'll take a bit of getting used to, but you still get that bubbly feeling and that taste from it, so you can trade off sodas for something like that. Another thing is if you are a chocolate addict and you can just absolutely not give it up. Transition from milk chocolate to 60% to 70% to 80%, and then eventually step away from it. But that is a way to get from if you absolutely have to have it. Now, I still suggest, if you can, just stop it, because it is an addiction. There's something going on here that is making you just absolutely want to have it. Yes, there is a physiological benefit. We get dopamine, we get serotonin and things like this that our body becomes addicted to, but there's also an emotional trigger that's making you want to have it as well. So now you know what to eat, but here's a big part of it, setting yourself up for success. So what does that actually look like? You know what to eat, but now what do? The first thing you do is you're going to clean out your cabinets. You get rid of every single thing that you should not be eating. Don't keep it for later or if someone else comes over. Get it out of your face, because if not, it's going to be a temptation. Remove it. If you can't stand to throw it away, give it to a friend, ask them to hold it for 30 days. At the end of that 30 days, I promise you, you will not want it. Secondly, look at your environment. What does your environment promote you to do? Sit on your booty, do nothing? Is it geared towards the bad food? Can you rearrange your office? Can you remove objects or things that you feel like are triggering you towards, emotion or depression or sadness, things that make you want to eat? Look in your house. Is your house a mess? Because if your house is a mess, it usually means your mind is a mess. Clean the house up. You will think more clearly. You will feel better just about your environment, and that helps clean up our mind too, when we don't have to constantly look at 1,000 different things sitting around that need to be done. All right, it is the day before you're going to actually start carnivore. You've cleaned your house, you've thrown all the junk away, you're gonna go to the grocery store. You are going to buy meats that you want. You are going to think a couple days in advance at least of what you're going to eat. Bring the meat home. Prep it in the sense of if you have to spice it and put it in a bag, or just, heck, maybe you just need to chuck it in the refrigerator. Make a plan about what you're going to eat. So now you have your food at the house. You're great to go. But then life happens. You've got work. You've got plans. You have to meet family and friends. This is where it is vital you think ahead in these moments. Are they going to be going out somewhere to eat? Well, guess what? You should either eat before you go or look at the menu before you go so you can know exactly what you're going to eat. Do not leave it up to chance, because I promise you it's going to be so much easier just to get that burger and fries than that steak if you haven't planned ahead. So, eat before you go, snack, whatever you need to do to keep yourself on track. A big one, how to deal with cravings. They are going to happen. As I said earlier, I'll have a video on what to expect. If you haven't watched it, it's the part 1 in the description. You will have to use something to get over the cravings. I use slices of butter. You put them in your mouth and you just let them melt. You reassess after a few minutes. If you still feel like you need something, you rinse and repeat. You go get the butter again. Or if it's not a butter kind of day, bacon. Take a slice of bacon, same thing, eat it, reassess in a few minutes, and you keep doing this till you can get through it. And the last part for setting yourself up for success is setting expectations. I cannot stress enough, because I still am not perfect with this, by all means, you must set realistic expectations. Losing weight, it is wonderful, but there are a lot of other benefits that come with doing this diet. If you have autoimmune issues, feeling better, less pain, reversing diabetes, not feeling sick all the time. These are things that you need to write down every week that you experience, because they are the things that you need to look back to when things get rough and the weight isn't coming off. So don't expect to lose 20, 30, 50 pounds in month 1 just because someone else did. Our bodies are all different. Be appreciative for if you lose 5 pounds or 3 pounds, whatever it is, your body's trying to heal, and just keep reminding yourself those, we call them non-scale victories, are so important. This is a really big section. How to deal with stumbles when they happen. They are going to happen. We are all human. The biggest thing is giving yourself grace and letting go of the mistake. Letting go doesn't mean you can do it 50,000 times and see any progress. What it means is you need to look at the mistake, understand why it happened, look at the situation. How were you emotionally? Did you set yourself up for success? Acknowledge it and then move past it. We can do nothing, and I mean nothing, with shame and guilt to change anything 5 seconds ago, 5 years ago. It is pointless to beat ourselves up. What we can do to empower ourselves is admit, okay, I made this mistake. I'm going to assess why it happened, and whatever the reason is, I'm going to put forth steps to succeed in the future and to prevent this specific mistake from happening again. With that in mind, you might be tempted to have cheat meals. I strongly advise against it, and this is why. When you call things cheats, you are eroding your own integrity inside. Nobody likes cheaters. No one does. You are minimizing yourself by doing this. If you're going to have something off meal, just admit it. Don't call it a cheat. Just say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I don't advocate for that, but life happens. Do not cheat on yourself because you don't want anybody to cheat on you. The cheating leads to lack of integrity, and when you start degrading your integrity, this is what leads down to that slippery slope of eating the bad diet you were on, feeling shame and guilt, and it's just like that dark, deep funnel into depression. Don't do it. You are worth so much more than that. Here's your golden nugget of wisdom. View this as a journey, not a rush to the destination. We discover who we are between point A and B, not at the end. We change, we become these beautiful people, and we grow in between. Enjoy the in between. There will be bumps and trips, and it will be difficult at times, but these are the times we grow as human beings. We get stronger, we get more resilient. Appreciate the fact that you're being challenged because it's just going to make you a better person versus just taking the easy path. When there's no challenges, we don't grow. We become miserable and isolated. The carnivore diet, I say the word diet, but this is not a traditional sense of I'm doing this to lose X amount of pounds. This is a lifestyle for me. It will be forever. Even if I tweak it and 5 years down the road, I add a couple vegetables back. I don't know if I will or won't, but it still is a lifestyle. If you view it through that lens, it becomes so much easier to do because this is just how life is now. It's not I have to eat this way to lose 50 pounds and you're resisting and kind of flailing inside because you don't want to do it. If you accept it's a lifestyle, you have no choice but to eat that way. It takes all the decisions away and just makes it where you can just step forward without thinking. Please consider joining the Discord for the Carnivorous Me community. We are there to help. There's plenty of people to answer questions. It costs nothing. We even have book club every week that you can join. We are here for each other, and that's what's so important about this community. I appreciate every one of you so very much. I hope you got something out of it, because I always get something out of it when I do these videos. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Versus taking the easy path when just taking, you know what I find funny? That you know that they do that, that the boxing ring girl does that.
Oh, she does.
Okay, restart. Hi everybody, welcome. I don't know what I'm going to say in the intro. It's going to be a temptation.
I didn't get that.